only sending the source code. You're sending everything that is required to run that Docker container.
Gotcha.
So it will run.
And your apps are more self-contained. So right now, Pipe is funky because we end up sharing things across apps. Like we have to agree about which versions of this and that and the other
Right.
thing. Whereas with Docker, you get to be much more isolated and say, I'm going to account for all of my dependencies and have a Jenkins build that, you know, like runs through all of this and says, I want to make sure everything is good as part of deploying it. But if you're doing app A and he's doing app B, you can have different sets of dependencies. Because we're in the, you're drawing pictures as though we've got different VMs for every app, but in fact, what's weird about Pipe and many of the UT approaches is that we have a shared VM for all these things. We don't have isolation between the different apps.
That's true.
So this is a way to get some of that in an otherwise shared baseline environment. And there are some folks using this at UT as well. So like IAM is using Docker for all their stuff.
Gotcha.
Okay, Docker benefits. I already talked about Docker benefits. So I need to talk about that. Docker for Windows. So if you have Windows 10, there is a version which is called Docker for Windows. You can just install that software and it will install everything that is required to run Docker on Windows machines, including VirtualBox, Linux, or everything. So it's very easy. But if you don't have the Windows 10, so there is one thing called Docker Toolbox. There is the link. So you can go there and you can just download the Docker Toolbox, and you can install that toolbox, and it will install everything. If you don't have the VirtualBox, it will install the VirtualBox for you. It will install the Linux kernel, everything for you. And what you will get at the end, you will get one GUI and one command line interface. So if you're comfortable with command line, you can use the command line. If you're comfortable with the GUI, you can use the GUI. So these are the frequently used commands with Docker. And if you're familiar with Linux, this is very common, very similar to Linux commands, and some commands are very similar to GitHub because they are using the same concept as GitHub. You can pull, you can push, you can commit, and they have similar website which is called Docker Hub instead of GitHub. So in GitHub we share our in GitHub repository we share our codes. In Docker Hub we share our container. So we can commit our container whenever we change something in our container. We can commit that one, and we can push that container to the Docker Hub. And someone else who is permitted to get that container, he can just pull that container from Docker Hub and he can run it in his own machine. Okay, so we'll have some time. Shata. Okay. So I want to show you some basic Hello World program using Docker.
So while you're saying that, the one other thing is there's been a roadmap for Pipe to actually containerize things, to incorporate this kind of stuff. There's a big question right now about whether they're going to pursue that or not, as we're kind of talking about exactly what the future development environment should be.
Yeah.
But, anyway.
Okay, so if you install the Docker Toolbox, you will get something like this. This one or this one. So this one is for GUI version, and this one is the command line version. Okay. So if you click on that, you will get this command line interface. So I'm inside my command line interface Docker. So let's say first of all I want to run one image from Docker Hub. So we call it image. Image is a kind of blueprint for your container. It's a specific file structure which has all the instructions how to build your container, and you can share your image on Docker Hub. So let's say I want to run one image which is called Hello World. Okay. So if you go to Docker Hub, so there are so many repository already there. You can just take them and build your own image. For example, you want to build one Python Django application. So it's 100% that you will get some image that is already have the Python and Django and Postgres and Nginx and everything that is required to run on Python Django applications. don't have to set up everything. So just get that base image, start working on that, change that image, then commit that image, then push that image again to the Docker Hub. So for example, here is one app which is called Hello World. It's a official Docker app, very simple. It will just print out the Hello World things on on your console. So if I run Docker run Hello World, so what's happening here is that it's saying hello from Docker. So this is the very simple. What is doing, this app is doing is just printing out hello from Docker. But the interesting thing about is that whenever you run Docker run hello world, this is the image name. So it searches this image name on your local machines. If it finds it on your local machines, the container, then it will run it from here. If it doesn't find it, then it will go to the Docker Hub. Then it will look for that image. If it finds that image, then it will download that image from there. It will pull it from Docker Hub. Then it will run in your local machines. Okay, so whenever I run it, it automatically creates the container. This is the image, the hello world. The name of the image is the hello world. And when I run this image, it automatically creates the container. So I can see the container like Docker PSA. So you can see here is the image. The name of the image is hello world, and there are some other things. It's exited 58 seconds ago. It's run and then it's exit. This is the ID, the container ID. So it already created the container for you. Just run the command. So Ramsey, you were talking about what's the difference between VirtualBox and this Docker, right? So if you have the one image for your parking software, and that parking software is in Docker Hub, you just run Docker run parking. Then boom, parking will run. You don't have to set up your backend. You don't have to set up your VirtualBox.
So it runs like a command that you define somewhere. Like if I did Docker run my Django project, is it going to run a server or?
Yeah, if that image is present in your local repository, it will get it from your local repository. If it doesn't find it here, it will go to the Docker Hub. It will try to find out there. Then if it cannot find it, then it will not run. But you must have the image on Docker Hub, either on Docker Hub or in your local repository.
I guess my question is, what is it exactly running? Like, I mean, what if I want to like test, run my test or something like that for my Django, like Python manage.py test or whatever. It seems like this is running
you can also do that.
Some command.
It's a kind of app. It's not definitely the Django app. Maybe it's a little piece of Linux command or something.
Right.
So if you want to change your Django app, you can go inside your container. Container is like it acts like a virtual machine. So you have all of the source code and everything inside the container.
Right.
Okay. So you can go inside the container. You can find the source code over there. You can change the source code, commit it again, push it again. Then it has the newer image. The image is updated.
Okay. Gotcha.
The next thing I want to show very quickly is that how to build a Docker container or Docker image, run it and share it. So the example I'm using here is this example is on the official Docker website, that is docker.com. If you go to docker.com and go to the documentations, you will find this example over there. So they have one image which is called whale-safe. Okay. So let's try to find this image.
Stars? Is there something replicating or what is that?
Just
I think it's kind of like the GitHub stars, maybe. The users using a star thing.
Okay. We want to use this one. This one repository. This whale-safe, these applications is already there in Docker Hub, and we want to run it in our own machine. And how can we run it? Very simple. go to your Docker console, run Docker while say. I already know these things. This while say, this piece of software, it takes two arguments. One is the one is called I'll say, anything like boo or anything. So this software is like that. Whatever you type is here. Cow will say boo boo, or if you say hello, the cow will say hello. Let me check if I'm writing the. Okay, another thing is that you can pull it, then run it. But if you directly run it, then it will pull it for you first, then it will run the software for you. So this is basically a shortcut. You can directly run these things.
Sorry, did you say it pulls automatically when the
Yeah. Yes. So if you use the command run, it will pull first, then it will run. But you can also do like this. You can pull it first, then you can run. Yeah, you can see what's happening here. It's pulling the software and all the dependencies from Docker Hub, and it's building the layer. So Docker is build something layer on top of layer on top of layer. So if it's like it has a one Debian version, then it will create the Debian layer first. Let's say you have another command which runs on Debian, then it will create that layer. Then again, it will create another layer on top of that, and finally, it will have one layer, and then it will delete all the intermediate layers. So that is how it's not very large in size. It will build the layer on top of layer, then it will delete all the unnecessary layers finally. Okay, so what happened here is that it downloaded the OS software and it ran it. Okay, it's saying boo. So if I say hello Trex, say hello Trex. So this is that simple. I mean, you don't have to worried about anything. You don't know what piece of software this OS is running on background. Is it a Java? Is it a Python? Or is it just a Linux command? You don't need to know anything. Just run it, it will run. So that's the good thing about, that's the beauty about Docker. It just works. So the next thing I want to show is that how to build your own image. So first thing is that, let's say I want to build a different application on top of these OLC applications. It doesn't doing anything very extraordinary, just printing out whatever you are writing on the console, right? So I want to make it a little change on these OLC applications, and I want to make own image of mine. So how can I do that? Is that first of all, let's create one directory which is hold all the files that is required for my project, and then write a Docker file. So Docker file is like, this is some kind of instruction that tells Docker how to create the image. So I already created this directory and Docker file here. I just want to show it to you. Say I'm already inside my directory, Docker test build. So if I want to so I'm on Windows, so I don't have Nano or Vim. I'm just using Notepad. So this is the instruction here. Just 3 lines of code that will change the whole applications. The first line is the from command. This is basically the base image. Which base image I'm using? I'm using the wholesale. And after colon, this one is the version, the latest version. And then I'm running one command. So since OLC is based on, I guess is Ubuntu, I guess. So I can run the command apt-get install and apt-get update. So this is the run command I want to run on top of Ubuntu. And what it will do, it will get another piece of software which is called Fortunes. fortune is like, it will tell you some kind of fortune telling every time you run it. Like, just like the fortune cookie. Whenever you go to a Chinese shop, you get some fortune cookie, right? And it gives you something, some fortune telling. So this fortune is just like that. And then again, finally, we want to run one command, which is go to this folder, user games, and it will run the fortune software. Then this is the pipe command. If you're familiar with Linux, then this is pipe command. You can join to command with this pipe. So what it does is that it takes the output from here and it gives that output as an argument to the right hand side command or the function. Okay, this is just 3 lines of code. And now, how can I build my image from a new image? You have to write this Docker file, and then you can just run Docker build. Okay. Build a new image from here. I want to give it a tag. Tag means what names do you want to give it? Let's say I want to give it a name which is called my well. And then here's the dot. Dot means is that whatever file I have in my current directory, use the file. So you can specify a path here, or if you just specify dot, then it will take the Docker file from the current directory. So I already have the Docker file in my current directory, so I just put the dot here. So from that 3 line of code, 3 line of instructions is creating the whole image from there. Done. So now I can see my new image. If I run Docker images, you see there is a new repository, new image which is called MyWeb. It's already created. So if I want to run these things, Docker run MyWeb. So you see this time, it's not just printing some garbage value, whatever I wrote on the command line. Is taking some output from the fortune software, is printing out some fortune tellings here. So every time I run it, it will give me different sign. So now my new image is done. Now I want to share with other people. So I have a very extraordinary piece of software. Now I want to share with the rest of the world. How can I do that? So I already have my image. Then I can just push my image to my Docker Hub repository. Then everyone in the rest of the world, they can just pull that repository, that image, and they can run this extraordinary MyWell app. Okay. So in order to do that, we need to tag it first. Tagging is like it gives some specific name to that image. So let me check what's the tag image ID. The command for tag is Docker tag. It's very easy to remember. First, let me check what's the image ID. So this is the image ID. Tag, then I need to type the image ID is 63. I need to give it a name, so I'll talk about this name in a second. So you see this part, Tariq Obaida, then slash, this name is basically the repository name where I want to share my images. Because here is my account. Okay, here is my picture. So the repository name is Tariq Obaida. So that's why I use the same name, because I want my image to be stored in that particular repository. So that's why I name it Tariq Obaida / then the name you want, like my file. And then colon, this is the tag, this is the version. You can make it version 1, version 2, or the latest version. Okay, so I tag it, and if I check my images, then you see there is another images which is called Tariq Obaida, then my file. Now I want to share it with the rest of the world. So if I want to share, I need to log in first. So, username, password. So now, just like GitHub, we can push it to our repository. Docker push. I want to show you one thing is that this is my repository. And I don't have any repo like MyQuel or anything, but whenever I push something on my repository, then it will be here and it will be available to everyone.
You wrote pull.
I used to. That's why I want to use push. So it will take some time. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I'm kind of confused how like active development falls with the whole Docker stuff instead of being in VirtualBox. Like
Say
in
it
my
again. What's it?
like active development, like in my virtual machine, I'm going in there, running my server,
Mhm.
making changes to all the code.
Okay.
I don't. To me, this looks like there's an image, and you basically run the
Mhm.
server. That's
Yes.
for where it's hosted
Mhm.
when it's running all the stuff.
Yeah.
How do I do active development on
Okay,
Docker?
so yeah, that's yeah, this is a very good question. Like here, what we can do in Docker is that. So here I'm just changing the Docker file, right? Yeah, in the Docker file I'm writing some instructions. Right? So what I can do is that I can mount my development folder. Let's say you have your Django project in a folder, then you can mount that folder in the container. So this can be done with single command that mount this folder from your local machine to this container. Then that folder is mounted to that container.
Gotcha.
Okay, so whatever changes you are doing in your local environment, in your local folder, that changes will also be reflected in that container. Okay. Now
Okay.
you commit your container and the change is saved over there.
Do you have to mount it like this every time, or is it just gonna
Yeah.
be there?
You have to mount it one time. and
Okay,
it
so
will
just
be
a one-time
available
thing? Okay.
every time. Okay, so I just post that repo, and now if I refresh, it's here. So now if you want to run this MyWell applications from my repo, just go there and run this command in the Docker command line, and it will run in a machine. Okay, so that's the thing I wanted to show you, how to build the image, how to share that image. Yeah. So do you have any other question? Basically, that's the end of my presentations today.
Thank you for sharing.
Mm-hmm.
I know this is difficult to grasp for the first time, because when I try to learn these things, Docker, it was very difficult for me. But when I tried to run some command and everything, then suddenly it started to make sense to me.
Gotcha. So have you like, for example, for Python Django, have you used this kind of infrastructure instead of Vagrant VirtualBox before?
Not
Like-
in Trex.
Okay.
But personally, I used.
Okay, so like in development of a project like that. Cool. Sweet.
So do you think, Ramsey, it will solve the background problem?
I have no idea. I don't know. I probably just have to try it.